Thursday, the 25th of June 2026. It's a pleasant morning here at Broadcasting House. Hello and welcome to your favorite breakfast show. Good morning, Sierra Leone. As always, this program starts today with analysis and views on issues of national concern. My name is Frances Barnard, where we start with our quote of the day. Our quote of the day is from American journalist Sidney Hayes, and it says, "The whole purpose of education is to run mirrors into windows." That's a food for thought, where in the program this morning, the annual presidential town hall to be held in McKinney district, and the president will answer questions from citizens across the country on issues of governance, tripartite, global development, and his legacy. APC defers constituency elections to July 4 as party mourns the recent death of senior stalwart. And PPRC officially certifies a new political party in Sierra Leone, the Humble African Development Party. These stories plus more lined up in this edition of the program. Good morning, Sierra Leone. You are invited to participate by sending your comment and views to the number on your screen. The number is 030-073-719, or go to our Facebook page slbc.sa, and you can also find us on all other social media handles with the same address. This is Good Morning, Sierra Leone. It's Good Morning Sierra Leone live on TV, and you can have your say by sending your comments and views to the number on your screen, or go to our Facebook page slbc.sa, and also on all other social media handles. We now start with our first issue of the day. The annual presidential town hall will take place in McKinney on Tuesday, 30th June. The president will answer questions from citizens across the country on issues of governance, tripartite, global development, and his legacy. The program is organized by the Ministry of Information and Civic Education to bring government closer to the people as a way of enhancing democratic accountability. The venue is rotational. The first was held in Freetown, and the second last year in Kenema. This is McKinney's Stone. Well, in the studios this morning to take us through activities lined up for this event, we have National Outreach Coordinator, Ministry of Information and Civic Education, Abubakar Josisi. Good morning, Mr. Sisi. Welcome to the SLBC.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, this is not the first time we're having a town hall meeting, and this time we are taking it to McKinney and Bombali districts. Why McKinney?
Well, as you rightly said, as a matter of fact, this is the third presidential town hall. We had the first, the one in the Bintumani conference hall. Last year we were in Kenema, and then this year McKinney. So why McKinney? McKinney was actually chosen by His Excellency the President himself. He insisted on the McKinney because in his view, when it comes to democratic accountability, there should be no political boundaries.
Okay.
Yes. So we all know for a fact that McKinney is the stronghold of the green opposition. And last year we were in Kenema, and Kenema is also the stronghold of the ASF. And we know nowadays people are quick to politicize issues, but His Excellency thinks that he is president for all citizens, and therefore every citizen should have the opportunity of interfacing with him. So it's on that basis that we are in McKinney. We started preparations all this while, and as you rightly said, is going to answer questions for
Okay.
the public.
All right,
on the
so
governance of the state.
Mr. Sise, how well have you done your homework by making sure, because McKinney, I'm sure you're taking it to the north, to McKinney, because you want the north to be involved. And McKinney is not the only place in the north. How far have you gone in doing your homework? So you make sure that you will not get people being imported from other districts to go to McKinney, but that the people in the north will be at that town hall meeting to ask the right questions to the president.
Well, so it's a national event. That we are going to McKinney does not mean the event is just going to be attended by residents of McKinney and other parts of the north. McKinney is hosting, but His Excellency will be addressing the entire nation.
So my question is, it's a national event, I know, but you want, the president chose McKinney because he believes politics, he is not only president for Freetown or McKinney or the other places, but the president for Sierra Leone. Therefore, the people of the north also deserve to get a feel of what is happening.
Definitely.
And therefore, I'm asking, how sure are we or are you that we'll get majority of the people from the north, participants from the north, rather than just taking people from other regions to be part of the
We're
event?
actually not taking anybody from any other region.
Okay.
Yeah? Most of the people that will be in the hall definitely will be residents of McKinney.
Okay.
Because they are already based there. What will happen is that we already sent out invites. We'll be having government officials and few other people making their way to McKinney. But the rest of the audience definitely will be for McKinney.
Okay.
We've sent out lots of invites there in McKinney. Yeah, and other cities as well who have invites from other parts of the country, not just the northern province, can also attend because it's going to be strictly by invitation. The hall, I understand, takes a maximum of 500-600. So in the event you have thousands of people interested in witnessing the program, definitely the hall will not be able to accommodate everybody. So that's why we made it strictly by invitation. But then we are also going to give citizens the opportunity to participate.
So my concern is making it by invitation is a way of limiting the number of people who might want to come to participate. Because if you really want to get the views, you want the right questions to be asked, unfiltered questions to be asked to the president, you should let the people, because by inviting people, you are selecting the people you want to be in that hall.
So it is very simple. Should we have an event here at the SABC that you have over 5,000 people interested in witnessing, definitely there's no way you can accommodate even 1,000 people here. So what you normally do is to have representation. So we've ensured that every facet of the society out there is represented.
Okay.
Yeah, and they more have the opportunity to physically interface with His Excellency the President because they are based there. So, like I said earlier on, it's a national event. What we're also going to do to ensure that other citizens also participate, we're going to have the events broadcast live on, of course, SABC, AYV, one or two other television stations, as well as community radio stations, and also on a number of social media platforms. So citizens can follow the program on all of those platforms. Yeah, because I mean it's going to be live. But then for the residents of McKinney, it's likely the different facets of society that are going to be represented because you cannot take everybody into the hall. I just told you the hall takes a maximum of 500-600 people, and you have a situation where you have tens.
Is that the biggest hall in McKinney?
I am sure, because we actually we sent our advanced team there to look out for the most suitable venue, and they came out with Unimark.
Okay, so Mr. Sise, on the agenda, according to our intro, is that the president will be answering questions around the tripartite and his legacy. What are some of the things that you think that will be the point of discussion?
So that's where we are taking questions from our various platforms.
Have you started that already?
Yes.
Okay.
Over a week or 2 ago now. It is ongoing. We have various social media platforms. We have links on those platforms. You just click the link and then it takes you to Google form, and then you ask your questions and send it to us. So we are going to compile all of those questions at the end of the day by thematic areas. Yeah, you may have 500 people that ask questions on the education sector. You may have 200 on the fight against drug abuse. You may have 300 on gender empowerment and so on and so forth. So all of those questions we are going to compile, and those are the questions that will be posed to His Excellency on the day of the town hall.
Okay.
But apart from that, we also have we'll take some questions in the hall. You understand? Because it's an event that we expect to last not longer than 2 hours, but we really think it should be 1 hour 30 minutes, but then it might go up to 2 hours maybe, yeah, depending on the issues that come up. So we want to stick to time, and that's why we are compiling these questions from citizens. We also have videos of citizens asking the questions that HA will watch and respond to. You understand? We want to ensure it is very orderly. So after all of that, then inside the hall, His Excellency will also respond to questions from the public. So that's how it's going to go.
All right, thank you very much. Continue to stay with us. We'll have to discuss more about the area of allowing the citizens to participate in this particular debate. The particular national civic town hall, presidential town hall that will be taking place in McKinney in June, on Tuesday next week, the 30th of June. Well, this is Good Morning. Sarah Leon, if you have questions from Mr. Joseph from the Ministry of Information and Civic Education, do send them to the number on your screen or go to our Facebook page and just drop your messages there. We'll definitely read them out. We, however, continue with the program. The All People's Congress, APC, has announced the deferment of its constituency lower level elections, shifting the polls from the original scheduled date of Tuesday, June 30th to Saturday, July 4, 2026. In a statement signed by National Secretary General Lansana Doumbouya Esquire, the party explained that the decision was taken in consultation with the Interim Elections Management Committee to allow members nationwide to fully participate in morning activities following the recent death of senior APC stalwarts. Well, in the studios this morning, we have a member of the APC media team, Alfred Mikhailo Kooma. Good morning, Mr. Kooma. Welcome to SNBC.
Good morning. Delighted to be here.
All right. So, Mr. Kooma, first, I know we've done that before, but the SNBC, we like to sympathize with you for the loss of one of your senior members of the party. And now let's talk about you defying these activities, and it's all centered around the demise of one of a very senior member of the party. So how far have you gone in informing all members involved for this election? Because you have a timeline and now you are shifting it, not because you want to shift it, but because of an event that you did not plan for. Let's talk about how far you've gone in informing all the members of the party so that they will be abreast with this decision that you've taken.
Thank you very much. Let me start by expressing our thanks and appreciation on behalf of the All People's Congress to His Excellency the President and other government officials, the chairman of the SLPP and the entire executive and membership of the SLPP, and to my fellow comrades in the APC for joining us to give a befitting burial to our ex-chairman and chief executive officer. You know, we did promise ourselves that we are going to give him a befitting burial, and then we succeeded in doing that. You saw the burial, I don't want to say it was very colorful, but it was well attended. There was a state-laying ceremony in Parliament that was witnessed by the President, the First Lady, and other senior government officials. everybody was present. Everybody that is supposed to be present was there. They expressed a lot of beautiful things about the late man, and then they proceeded to City Council. In fact, one of the best tributes was given by the SLPP chairman. I was very impressed. So I think I owe it to government and all others that sympathize with us to express this thanks to them on behalf of my party. So having said that, I will now proceed to answering your question. Yes, we've been greeted with in recent times with a lot of burial. We've just laid, not too long ago, we laid to rest Omega Sise. He was the public relations officer of the APC in Port Loko district. And we also laid to rest the chairman on Monday. Today, we are going to Kono to take the remains of Honorable Lucinda Fina Kelly. Yesterday, there was a laying out ceremony in Parliament for her. And we also did same at the party office. So we are still in mourning period. That is why, in fact, I'm dressed in black. After this studio, I shall join them in church and we shall proceed to Kono. There's going to be a vigil for her today in Kono, and the burial is tomorrow. Yes, we decided to postpone or to defer the elections from the 30th of this month, 2026 of June, to the 4th July. It is going to be on a Saturday. We did so because of the mourning period. We have been greeted with a lot of burial, and a lot of people participated and are still participating. So you cannot expect the APC to conduct elections during those periods. A lot of mourners will have to retire to their various constituencies. They will have to put resources together because this is also very challenging, you must know. They have to return, put resources together, and they have to mobilize their supporters. This is an election that is now limited to an electoral college. We have people aspiring. We have the incumbent executive. They are all delegates. So we as a party have decided to give the opportunity to everybody so that nobody will feel cheated, to prepare adequately for the election. So that is what we are doing. We did not just postpone because we want to or we wanted to. We did because, the surrounding circumstance calls for that.
Yeah. So we all know that is inevitable,
Yes.
and you did not prepare for this. My only concern was, but you've just addressed that, if members have been informed about this,
Yes.
and you just spoke about people moving from their places to make sure they give their final respect to fellow members of the party. So now let's talk about the elections management committee. Are they also set to make sure that you not go beyond the 4th of July?
Yes. Well, let me start with the adequate information.
Okay.
Yes, they have been adequately informed because we have our channels of communication. Whenever there is a press statement from the Secretariat, it is circulated across those channels. It is our responsibility as spokespersons of the APC to now cascade this information. The more reason why I am here this morning, I am supposed to be in church, together with the Bigi family and other stakeholders of the party. But I decided to come to morning coffee and good morning Sierra Leone to ensure that the information is passed on to our membership, and in fact, other public relations officers across constituencies and districts are also doing the same engagement. They are calling meetings at constituency level. The notices are pasted all over the place to inform them adequately about the postponement, so they are adequately informed.
All right, we thank you very much, Mikhailo, for always making yourself available whenever the SLBC wants you to talk about issues of the All People's Congress. We continue with the program. He is Mikhailo.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, sorry. You asked a question if it will not affect
Yes.
the overall timetable. It will not affect the overall timetable because there are dates already scheduled. Yes, in August, we are instructed by the PPRC by resolution to ensure our National Delegate Conference is conducted, but there is also a caveat that if this executive could not get that conducted, the parliamentary arrangements headed by Honorable Adukago will take us forward to transition.
Okay,
So
do
that
you
is
think that you get yourself into that situation?
Yeah, we don't want to, but I don't believe it is feasible for us to meet the deadline.
Okay.
Because this is the ending of June almost. We shall soon approach July and August. We still have constituencies, we have districts, we have regions, we have specialized organs like the Women's Congress, the Young Congress. We have other bodies like the Disabled Wing, the Veteran Congress. No, it is not possible for us to meet that deadline.
All right, thank you very much. Continue to stay with us where you have to give us more information. I know you have to leave for another engagement, but we now go to another issue. And before that, let's take the health tips. In today's health tips, we take a look at what causes hiccups. Hiccups are common reflex that starts when something irritates the nerves, controlling your diaphragm. This causes an involuntary muscle spasm that pulls in air and snaps your vocal cords shut, creating a hic sound. Learn what causes hiccups from common triggers to underlying medical issues in this video.
We've all experienced a bout of hiccups that interrupts a conversation or a meal. Most of the time, they're harmless and temporary. But what's really going on? Hiccups are a common reflex that starts in your diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle under your lungs. When something irritates or disrupts the nerves that control your diaphragm, it can cause an involuntary muscle spasm. This quick jerk motion pulls air in and snaps your vocal cords shut, leading to the familiar hiccuping sound. Most hiccups are transient, which means they come and go quickly. They're usually triggered by everyday activities that irritate your diaphragm, like eating too much or too quickly, eating foods that are very hot, cold, or spicy, drinking carbonated or alcoholic beverages, swallowing excess air while you eat or drink, and smoking tobacco or cannabis. Sometimes hiccups last more than a few minutes. Persistent hiccups are those that last longer than 48 hours, while intractable hiccups are those that last longer than a month. These prolonged hiccups are often caused by underlying medical conditions or triggers, like gastrointestinal issues, like acid reflux, central nervous system problems, like stroke or Parkinson's, lung conditions like pneumonia, tumors or metabolic imbalances, or certain medications or recent surgeries involving anesthesia. Transient hiccups can be a nuisance, but they usually go away within a few minutes. To speed up the process, you can try home remedies like holding your breath or sipping cold water. But if your hiccups last more than 2 days or interfere with activities like eating, sleeping, or breathing, see a healthcare provider to check for underlying causes. They'll find the cause and recommend treatment so you can start feeling better and hiccup-free.
It's Good Morning Sierra Leone live on TV, and you are invited to participate by sending your comments and views to the number on your screen, or go to our Facebook page slbc.sl. Well, before we went for that break, I was talking to Minkailu Kuruma, a member of the media team of the APC. So, Mr. Kuruma, you have to go, so we don't want to keep you long in the studios. So, now that you are envisaging the parliamentary arrangement to take you through to your delegates, is it your delegates?
Yes, national delegate.
Your national delegate conference. How far have you gone from the media wing by getting the minds of your people prepared ahead of these events that are lined up for the APC?
So that is what we're doing. I mean, since the moment the internal election rules and regulations were gazetted by the PPRC and they were finally approved, the information was circulated far and wide for people to understand their role, how they should participate, and how they should become electable if they're interested in contesting. And we are still on that particular drive, communicating to them effectively and efficiently. Now, I am not anticipating otherwise. It is my conviction that based on the many elections ahead and the scheduled timelines, I don't think we are going to meet the deadline of August this year to conduct our National Delegate Conference. Mark you, we are not only conducting elections in country, we also have another region in the diaspora, which is the sixth region. Yes, we have executives across North America, UK and I, and some part of Africa. So we are conducting elections in all of those places. And then after this set of elections, we are going to proceed to other set of elections. So if you could not meet the deadline, thank God when the resolution was being passed to extend the tenure of this executive, they also, indicated clearly that if the executive could not transition the party, we are going to have caretaker arrangements that will be headed by the Honorable Abdul Kabo, because he's the opposition leader now. And one MP from each region, and thankfully we have members of parliament in all of the regions.
Okay.
We have in the east, in the south, in the northwest, in the western area. So they are going to constitute themselves into that body that will now take us to a National Delegate Conference to finally transition the party. So yes, we are informing our members, we are preparing them, and we are going to continue in that direction to get it right.
All right, thank you very much, Mikhailo, and we wish you safe journey even as you travel to Kono this morning. This is Good Morning Sailing, and now we go to something different. The Political Parties Regulation Commission, PPRC, has finally certified a new political party in Sailing, the Humble Africans Development Party, HADP. The certifications follows the successful completion of all legal and administrative requirements outlined in the Political Parties Act of 2022. According to the Commission, the move is in line with Section 22(3)(b) of the Act, which empowers the PPRC to issue a certificate of registration to any political movement that has fulfilled the prescribed conditions for political party status. The certification marks a significant milestone for the Humble Africans Development Party as it joins the country's growing democratic landscape and gains legal authority to operate as a registered political party. Well, in the studios this morning, we have Senior Outreach Officer, PPRC. He is Eugene Momo. Good morning, Mr. Momo. Welcome to the SLBC.
Good morning, SLBC, and good morning to viewers. I'm happy to be here.
So let's talk about a new political party added to the many we have already, the Humble African Development Party, HADP. Who are the people behind this party?
Thank you very much. I want to use the opportunity to congratulate the Humble Africans Development Party for receiving its certificate of registration yesterday at our office at Tower. Registration of political party is one of our mandates as a commission, as enshrined in the Political Parties Act number 25 of 2022, and it's our responsibility to critically assess or vet proposed movements who are intended to be registered as political party. So for the Humble Africans Development Party, they have fulfilled the criteria to be registered as a political party as enshrined in sections 21, meet the necessary requirements, and as enshrined in section 22(3)(b), as you said earlier, we are satisfied with the documents so far, the process so far with the Humble Africans Development Party, and for that reason we issued out the certificate of registration to them yesterday. And they are of who are
The people.
I mean, they are members of the HADP. That's how I would say. The people, they are members of the HADP.
Who is the chairman?
The chairman is Abubakar Alarazim.
Abubakar.
Alarazim is the chairman of the movement, of the party. And I want to also use the opportunity to inform people that we have 18 registered political parties now in the country, and we have 2 that are almost through with the process. We have the Social Rescue Movement and the People's Liberation People's Movement, and we have also lots of them also in the process to be registered as political parties. No, we sometimes we have this.
You mean we have 18 already
we now have 18
registered,
registered political
and you
parties
still
in the
have
country.
two
We
that
have
will
two
soon
more that are
complete?
close. Yes, that are close to complete the process.
and we still have many
We still
in
have
the
more in
in
the
the
pipeline,
process.
and the process is ongoing. Yes. So now people always ask. I mean, the country is too small for the number of political parties we have. You know, we operate in a democracy, and democracy talks about inclusion. And sections 12(2)(d) of the Political Parties Act state that the PPRC should promote political pluralism and the sense of constitutionalism. And we all know what is political pluralism, allow other players in the game. So, and the statutory instruments, that to say the Constitutional Asylum Act number 6 of 1991 and the Political Parties Act number 25 of 2022 did not specify any number of political parties that should exist in the country. So as long as you're a Sierra Leonean and you meet the requirements, the criteria, then you come to the
Okay, so
party,
Mr.
register.
Momo, you and I know Sierra Leone. Yes, we have so many. It's a democracy, but it's like we're practicing geopolitics, because if it is not the SLPP, it's the APC, and we still getting parties, political parties, being registered to be in the political space. Do you at any time, or do you have plans to review the PPRC Act to say, well, it might sound funny, but to get all these political parties, and you only see them when it's election time, and after election you don't hear anything about them, but they keep coming in. Do you have plans to review your act or whatever it is, so that you regulate the space?
Yes, we do have plans to review the PPRC Act, but in contrary to what you said, in fact, plans are ongoing to see ways that political parties can also be subvented. You know, yes.
So don't you think it is that subvention?
So now, if you look at other advanced democracies, there are political parties in those countries that have been existing for ages, but no representation either in their local councils or in the parliament. But they do exist because they operate in a democracy, and we have a big role, we have a big mandate to promote political pluralism. So we can't shrink the political space, because if you shrink it, then it's a selective justice. And for PPRC, our key mantra is objectivity and fairness. That's the reason we don't have a big or small party at the PPRC, or whether you are financially buoyant or not. We give a level playing field for all political parties to operate. So if you meet the criteria, then the PPRC will definitely register you, and because it's in our mandate, and as long as, even if it's only a political party, we will register as long as you meet it, and as long as you're a Sierra Leonean.
Okay, so you just now you spoke about plans to provide subvention to some of these political parties, because it's not going to be some if they are registered with you, and then, so don't you think that is going to be a burden on the PPRC or whoever is providing that fund to these political parties? In fact, you get, the moment you get subvention for registered political parties, just be ready or prepared to get hundreds of political parties registered with the PPRC.
Yeah, I don't think it's a burden. In fact, in our last review in 2018, when we reviewed this new act, it was part of the recommendation. But when it goes to Parliament, they remove that aspect. But it will definitely push for it. We exist for political parties, the PPRC, and they are partners. So whatever concerns the political party is also a concern. So in there have been bodies, someone, government, or the PPRC, that's why we believe in engagement. We believe in dialogue, engage the necessary authorities to see ways how we can be able to subvent and political
There were
parties.
talks that the PPRC, or I don't know whether it was Parliament, that they were pushing for political parties who could not achieve certain percentage in an election should be deregistered. Are you still pushing for that?
So that's recommendation 70.
Yes, in the tripartite recommendation.
Yes, it states that any political party in 2 consecutive elections without representation in the local councils and the parliament should be deregistered. Yes, it's our concern as a commission, because we've received documents, we've received complaints from other political parties that said recommendation is totally against the tenets of democracy. And that recommendation is also the PRC's concern. Though we are yet to put out a statement in relation to that recommendation, again, it's a recommendation, it's not a law. So conversations are ongoing in relation to that, as we said, recommendation, because sometime last year, these political parties had a meeting, had a retreat in Bo, where they met to discuss issues in relation to that recommendation. And it's categorically stated that if you push for this recommendation, then what are we talking about? Democracy? Because democracy talks about inclusion. Everybody should be involved in the day-to-day activities of the country. So that recommendation is a concern, and we are yet, but we'll definitely put out our stance when the time will come for that discussion.
All right, thank you very much. Continue to stay with us. He is Senior Outreach Officer, PPRC, and he is Eugene Momo. We still have Jose in the studios with us. He is National Coordinator for the, he is from the Ministry of Civic Information and Civic Education. He is National Outreach Coordinator. So now, Mr. Sise, and I was talking about allowing the citizens to participate in this town hall meeting, especially when the president will be there, because I'm sure if I have questions bothering about development in my country, the first person I want to talk to is the president. So for the people of Makeni or Bombali to get the president seated in a hall with them, that would be a very good opportunity for them to ask the unfiltered questions to the president. How sure are you that the questions that will be asked by the people, because we saw a situation here in Freetown when somebody was trying to ask a question and that whole drama around that, how sure are you that we are not going to see such situation in Mumbai?
Yeah, so it's a question of people comporting themselves. Yeah, like the situation you're mentioning now. It was very unfortunate the last time. The lady in question did not even have an invite. They managed to.
But she is a citizen.
No, so let me come. Let me come.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Events of such nature have to be orderly, given that the fountain of honor, yeah, is present. I mean, we are not taking people there to go and embarrass the president. The president, far from it. Yeah, you can make your points in a very responsible and respectable manner. You understand? So what happened the last time at the Tumani was very unfortunate. I will hope that scenario will never repeat itself. Yeah. So what I said earlier on is that we have facets of the society that are going to be represented. Consider that the hall itself cannot accommodate the number of people that want to be at the event. Definitely we have to limit it to what the hall can accommodate, and that is why it is strictly by invitation. I just said citizens also have other ways of participating. They can go to their social media platforms. I mean, countless number of social media platforms will be carrying the events live. They can watch TV, SABC, AYB and other television stations, they will be carrying the events live. They can listen to radio. Good number of community radio stations are going to carry the event live. So through those channels, they can be part of the event. But we cannot afford to have everyone in the, it is just practically impossible.
So, Mr. Sise, I know the aim or the motive of this town hall is to see how to get the citizens participate in development, in governance, because by getting them together to ask questions, then they are coming out with some of the development agendas that they want to see the president working on and his team. So in development, if you really want the participation of the community, then you let them ask the questions that they want to ask. But by just limiting the space, I'm still emphasizing on this space, because one might say, yes, they are taking it, it's a very good idea, this is a very good idea, nobody is against it, but yet they need to let the grassroots, the bottom to meet with the top, and then they will ask the questions that you will not ask. You and I are employees of government. There are some questions that you not ask the president. But that one man who is in the village, who has nothing to do with politics, we have a very good question to ask. But because this space is limited, he's not being given the chance or the opportunity to ask this question. How about that?
You don't expect us to allow everybody into the hall.
Definitely.
Far from it. Yeah.
But do they have representatives?
Definitely. That's what I said earlier. I said all facets of this, the society is going to be represented. Be it bike riders, market women, youth organizations. They're all going to have representation in that hall. I mean, it's a national event. You understand me? The bulk of the attendees definitely will come from Makeni, where the program is being hosted. But mind you, this is a national event. The secretary should be talking to all Sierra Leoneans. So that is why, in the meantime, we are compiling the questions. I just told you earlier on that we have links on our various social media platforms where we are encouraging people. Just go click on those links and they take you to our
How about those who do not have the opportunity, the facility to access those links that you are talking about?
Well,
and they have serious questions to ask.
So others will ask questions on their behalf. So that's what we are doing. Just let me say, for example, we have 2,000 questions. You don't expect the president to respond to 2,000 questions. And you may have questions on, because we have thematic areas, on various similar questions coming, you understand, on a particular thematic area. So you just compile all of those questions into one and pose it to the president. So what happens is that eventually the hundreds of people that ask a particular question on that thematic area, I mean, just that one question will answer all of their questions.
Okay.
Understand? So that's what we'll be doing. But apart from that, inside the hall as well, we will be taking few direct questions. You understand? It's a program we do not expect to last longer than 2 hours. You not expect the president to answer dozens and dozens of questions. No.
Okay, so Mr. Sise, have you invited stakeholders in Bombali, stakeholders in the APC?
All.
And stakeholders, yes, of course, you said you're getting other stakeholders from other regions. Have you invited the leadership of where the events will be taking place?
Definitely. In fact, it's not just with the presidential town hall, even with our civic districts, whenever we go up county, the district, we invite all stakeholders, irrespective of which political party you belong. I mean, that's the reason why, in fact, His Excellency chose to take the event to Makeni.
Okay.
We all know Makeni is a stronghold of the APC. Yeah? Last year we were in Kenema. Had it been held in Bo, people have described it differently. So the president said, go to Makeni. We know most of them are APC, but then they are also Sierra Leoneans. They should be part of this. So that's why we're in Makeni. So the fact that we're in Makeni, I mean, clearly explains that when it comes to national events, we do not discriminate against anybody. These were also national events, and we hope and we really want to encourage everyone to participate. You understand? By either attending the events as an invited person, or you can go to your various social media platforms, you can listen to your community radio stations, you can watch televisions, and you'll be part of the event live. Okay,
so and now, what are preparations for the minds of the people in Makeni? This is a big event. The president is coming to Makeni, and not only the president, but you have other members of government.
The entire government.
And that just reminds me of a question I wanted to ask. Are we going to see other heads of institutions also on the panel as you used to do in other places?
No, so what's going to happen is this. When we start maybe by midday, we're going to have a spin room, or even right on stage there will have commentators, yeah. But then we'll also have a spin room where government officials and other people will come and just explain how they are doing things in their respective institutions. Yeah. we'll have all of those fanfare and everything. But once it is 2 p.m., His Excellency walks into that hall. He alone sits here with the Honorable Minister of Information and Civic Education to respond to the questions.
Okay, so he's
For 1
not
hour,
going to
30
make a
minutes.
statement. He will just sit to take the questions.
Straight, he takes the questions. And from that point on, nobody says anything again in that hall,
Except for those asking the questions.
except for those asking the questions.
Okay, so I was talking about preparation, preparing the minds of the people of Makeni that look, we are taking this event to your region. This is your own time, make good use of it, and how friendly will that environment be, so that the people will not say, okay, because even President Kaya are not able to do this and all that. So how prepared have you? How far have you gone in getting them prepared?
It's going to be, the environment is going to be very, very friendly. As a matter of fact, we know the campus of Unimark is huge, and that's where the event is going to be concentrated. So outside, there are people who go about their normal business, but they will want to encourage most of them to come just to be in the compound, because the hall is strictly by invitation inside the hall. But even outside the compound, a lot of fanfare will be there. Even our own party supporters, they will come in huge numbers to welcome His Excellency, and also just be around to celebrate.
I hope this is not going to turn into a party.
No. So
celebration.
you should expect that. His Excellency is the leader of the SLPP. You definitely will expect SLPP people to be there. We also expect lots of APC people to be there, because this
In
is
their
this
colours.
is a national event.
Are they allowed?
Well, it really does not matter if you we encourage people, but it doesn't matter if you go in your colors. What matters is how you comport yourself. You understand me? You can even go in your color because it's a national event. You can go there. I mean, what is wrong? I was here just now with Mikhail, who always be to. I mean, we should not make the political environment so toxic.
Okay.
Whenever we meet as Sierra Leoneans, I mean, we should just embrace each other, and then we see how we can chart the way forward.
All right, thank you very much, Joe Sise. Continue to stay with us. Well, it's now time for us to go through the papers, and I start with the Concord Times newspaper for today. The Concord Times newspaper: cyber law threatens press freedom in Sierra Leone, and this goes with the picture of Dr. Francis Soa. We are not going to keep dead political parties on our list. And this is quoting this is going with the picture of the chairman of the PPRC. Well, we'll have to talk to Eugene on that, because I was just asking about the number of political parties registered with the PPRC. EU hands over 2 inflatable boats to Sierra Leone Navy. HRCSL urges fisheries reform after report finds discrimination, child labor. These stories plus more you find in the Concord Times newspaper. Well, from the Concord Times newspaper, we go to the Standard Times. Standard Times: diaspora are key partners in development. This is quoting VP Jallo. And President Bio commissions Manoa Bridge, new pathway for rural development. These and more you find in the Standard Times newspaper. From the Standard Times, we go to the Daily Mail newspaper. The Daily Mail newspaper: President Bio heads to Makeni for citizens' engagement. VP Jules Jallo calls for peace and unity at Hajj 2026 celebration in London. Higher Education Ministry reaffirms commitment to international educational partnership. These stories plus more you find in the Daily Mail newspaper. And for some of you interested in sports, just go out there and grab the Daily Mail newspaper. From the Daily Mail, we go to the Satellite newspaper. Satellite newspaper: amid mourning of party leaders and stalwarts, APC postpones constituency election. And President Bio heads to Makeni for 3rd National Town Hall. Audit Service signs MOU with SETI. These stories plus more you find in the Satellite newspaper. And my final paper for today is the Exclusive newspaper. Exclusive: ACMA celebrates Father's Day. Sierra Leone is sinking, no time to waste, DIB tells Sierra Leoneans. This goes with a picture of one of the flag bearer aspirants of the All People's Congress. APC postpones elections and IGP wins award. Kailan violence, 25 arrested. These and more, including sports, are the back pages of these newspapers you'll find in our local tabloids for today. But you must be reminded that views expressed in these newspapers do not in any way reflect the views of the SLBC. We are merely saying what the papers are saying. We still have our guest in the studio. So, Eugene, we just saw a headline in one of the stories in the newspapers quoting your chairman that you don't have place for dead political parties. You have 18 already. We only see few are visible, but you're still registering more. What does that mean?
That statement was made when the chairman was admonishing the new political party, the HADP, that at the PPRC we don't encourage laziness. You know, I mean, having a political party is not only based on registration. That's the reason why taking part in an election does not only borders around the registration. A political party must be functional, and functionality hinges on various limbs. You know, you have to have offices across the region. You have to constitute various organs from the ward to the national level. Submit a yearly audited financial statement to the commission. And so these are some of the limbs, you know, when it comes to functionality. So for us at the PPRC, we don't encourage a party that is not functional, because we see political parties as institutions, and not just as institutions that are working. You know, because
Are all those 18 political parties, let's take the HADP out, because it's a new political party, but the other 18 political parties besides the SLPP, the APC, the NGC and the likes, RFP that we see, are those other political parties very active? Have they been submitting their yearly financial reports to the PPRC?
yeah, yes, I mean they are active. You know, as we have over 90% of them, they've already submitted their 2024 FY and 2025 yearly audited financial statement. They've already submitted. So yes, they are active. If you look at back in 2023, the other political parties aside from the APC and the SLPP who contested that election. So yes, we don't have dead political parties. All 18 registered political parties we have in the country, they are all active. And as we talk now, the NGC, they are in the process of completing their internal, democracy elections. The CFOC also, they also done with their internal election. They went to the convention. So all the political parties, they're all active. You know, and they're all functional. You know, when it comes to, the of political parties, let me use football. You know, we have players that are talented. You look at the Ronaldos and the Messis, they are talented. You know, then we have others that are a bit struggling. But we as a coach, because we see ourselves as a coach, the PPRC and the ACSL, the referee, so we always ensure that we prepare our players well, to meet the big match. You know, at the end of the day, only one player wins, but that does not mean there are not other in football teams. Because Arsenal did not win the Champions League does not mean that.
Why do you have to mention Arsenal? Arsenal won the Premier League.
We're talking about the Champions League.
Okay,
that's another level. So you will not say Arsenal is not a serious team. They are, but they are not well equipped to win the Champions League. Same also to other, to other political parties. That does not mean they are not active. They are active, but they are yet to win.
Okay, so let's talk about how often do you monitor these political parties, because one of your conditions is that they should have offices in all district headquarter towns. Is that so?
Yes.
How often do you monitor? Because some of them, those offices are not existing.
In fact, we did our last monitoring 2 months ago. You know, and we always monitor. And
but do you find some of them wanting?
Yeah, so no, there are challenges. Definitely, there are challenges in the area of the offices. That's the reason why in 2023 we noticed I mean, 3 political parties, I mean, did not take part.
Is that why you're trying to get subvention for them?
No, I mean, they have subvention. That's, I mean, that because we compare our systems to other advanced democracies. In other countries, they do subvent political parties. In other advanced democracies, so what's the difference with us? So in terms of monitoring, and we look at the watchword adherence to statutory instruments. So we do adhere to those instruments, and in turn engage with these political parties, remind them about the laws that regulate their activities. So yes,
All right, thank
we
you.
always do on the spot check.
Thank you very much, Eugene Momo. He is Senior Outreach Officer at the PPRC. We still have Joe Sise with us in the studios. Now, Mr. Sise, we have to go as time is up for Good Morning Sierra Leone. But what more information do you think the people of Sierra Leone, especially those in McKinney that will be hosting the president, need to know about the event?
Well, so the event is on Tuesday, and of course, at the moment we are setting up. HE is coming to McKinney to meet with them, and they should be in the position to participate in the event because it is a national event. We all know these days we always look at things through the political lens, partisan lens, but this has nothing to do with the political party. Before I came up here, I was on the morning coffee program. I was asked whether it would not be an opportunity for HE to make some clarifications regarding happenings within his political party. I said no, this is a national event. He's not be saying anything about political party there. It's just about the country. So that's the reason why everyone should generate interest in this program and ensure they participate.
Earlier on, I was asking you about the atmosphere because the mindset that this is Bombali and this is where the APC has, this is a stronghold of the APC. How I'm talking about how relaxed. Nobody is saying that the president should not be secured, no, but how relaxed will that environment be, so that even the people in Bombali will say President Kaya, but he did not interrupt our activities. His visit did not interrupt our activities, our normal day happenings, and all that.
Nothing of the sort is going to happen. I said it again earlier on that the program is going to be confined to Unimark campus. You understand?
And that's the highway,
well,
which
so
means I know security will be there, but how relaxed will it be?
security will mainly focus on the campus. Yeah. So the rest of the town, definitely they'll go about their business. Say for people who may want to come and participate,
Okay.
or may want to come around and be part of the fanfare, because definitely wherever the president is, and also the entire cabinet is going to go with him. So you expect a lot of people to be around. You understand? People use those opportunities to create networks and socialize. You know, so definitely we expect the fanfare to be there. And we just want to continue to appeal to people. In such events, we are all Sierra Leoneans. That's the more reason why His Excellency thought it fit for us to take the event to McKinney, so that people will not feel slighted politically. They will all feel belong to the governance of the state. So while there, let us behave ourselves, let us comport ourselves, let us ensure we go there, we get the message, the correct information from His Excellency. That's, I mean, he's the number one gentleman of the state.
All right,
And
thank you.
whatever you'll be saying there is the facts, not these things they hear from social media.
Thank you very much. He is Abubakar Joe Sise, and he is the National Outreach Coordinator, Ministry of Information and Civic Education. Many thanks to the rest of the production team here at Broadcasting House, and to Eugene Momo from the PPRC, and thanks to my producer Daphne Zainab Kamara for putting this program together. My name is Frances Bernard. Do have a lovely day.